Santiago de Chile, or Santiago, Chile, if we're using the Americanized way of saying it. However way you want to say it, there's no time for small talk as we get set to explore this major South American metropolis. What's going on, everyone? I'm Zeppernick, and this is As the Axis Tilts. Located smack dab in the center of Chile, between the wide natural boundaries of the Atacama Desert and Patagonia, lies the ancient city of Santiago de Chile. Ancient in history, spirit, and culture, all while being the modernized political and economical base of the country. A city with a population of 6.5 million people. To blend right into the cultura and the do's and don'ts of Santiago, you may be wondering where to begin. Aside from some of the early impressions you get here when visiting Santiago, the high altitude, a little bit of lightheadedness, the ears popping, not what's popping, Jack Harlow. One of the best places to get situated and begin your Santiago experience is right here at the birthplace of Santiago, Santa Lucia Hill. Officially a holiday on December 13th, originally founded and conquered by Spanish conquistadors back on December 13th, 1540. Gives you a bird's eye glimpse of the entire city skyline and a great place to get situated once you arrive here in Santiago. Santa Lucia Hill, all right, court, shut it, they get the point. Offers various cobblestone and dirt trails to access many different areas of the park, including panoramic glimpses of the city of Santiago. The blueprint of Santiago's tourism sector consists mainly of museums and urban parks, some of the best in the world. And what's great about both of them is that majority of them are free to visit. So we already know Mr. Krabs is all in. Oh yeah, did I mention it's winter down here in Santiago in the month of June, and if the snow from the nearby Andes Mountains won't get to you, the rain certainly will. It's a new day here, and I might as well consider temporarily changing my name to current Yankees third baseman Josh Donaldson's Twitter handle, @BringerOfRain, because everywhere I seem to go, the precipitation is not far behind. And if you look out my window, you'll see exactly what I mean. The famed Museo de Bellas Artes, established back in 1910, attracts visitors with its not too big, not too small approach by compartmentalizing its array of both modern and contemporary artwork. Primarily inspired by early Spanish settlers whose DNA makes up the city. Santiago's European resemblance has localized its downtown cultural and historical landmarks that are easy and convenient to see by foot. For instance, Parque Forestal. In fact, most of the city's main attractions are within a 45-minute radius from point A to point B, all while on 2 feet. Like La Moneda Palace, the past and present head seat of government in the country. Maybe the best way to see Santiago, however, is from a bird's eye, and Sky Costanera, the tallest building in all of South America, will, Sean Kingston voice, take you there. The famed Plaza de Armas offers the Metropolitan Cathedral, a haven for worship for Chileno Christians and Catholics for centuries. It also offers the Natural History Museum. The plaza is a hotspot for tourists and locals alike. Take a walk upstream along the roaring banks of the Mopake River, especially active as you can see during rainy season, and it runs throughout the entire city. That'll lead you into downtown towards the financial district, a district that has earned the epithet Sanhattan due to its highly developed, envious economical success in the continent. Walking around, not quite the Christmas tree yet, but be sure to make your way to the Bella Vista neighborhood, one of the most artistic and cultural spots in all of Santiago. And shortly from there, be sure to make your way to Cerro San Cristobal, the prized hill and one of the most scenic spots in all of Santiago, which is additionally home to the Santiago Zoo. Oh, and don't forget the culinary fair, of course, because it is indeed a circus. From potato chips to seafood, and the food isn't the only thing. All right, I'm in a grocery store right now, and whether it's a grocery store or a restaurant, one of the most exciting things is that you get to hear some authentic music native to the homeland that makes the experience more palpable. So, you get to hear maybe some bongo drums or some Latin rhythm and charm here while at a grocery store or restaurant in Santiago. It's not like you're in the US at a restaurant or a grocery store where you're only gonna hear Somewhere Only We Know, Man by Keen, or, 100 Years by Five for Fighting. This is the real deal, man. Real deal. The seafood at Central de Mercado looks like it literally jumped out of the South Pacific Ocean to be put on display. Mariscos is a popular seafood stew that can be found throughout the country. Throwing in an interesting tidbit about the Chilean national flag, the national flag is actually designed after the Texas state flag after Texas gained its independence from Mexico, and that's not the only thing shared between Chile and the United States. One thing you'll find out upon arrival or in advance when visiting Santiago is that Santiago is in the same time zone as U.S. Standard Eastern Time, which I find pretty wild considering the fact that Chile is along the South Pacific coast and shares the same Pacific coastline with places such as California and Mexico. So when it's 8 o'clock in New York, it's 8 o'clock in Santiago as well. When it's time for a change in scenery, make your way northeast to the iconic Andes mountain range. Take in the sights of some wild Chilean horses, but most of all, be sure to visit the Valle Nevado ski area, the largest ski area in the southern hemisphere, covering a whopping 900 acres. With all that being said, let's say you only had one day. What would you do then? Time for the If You Only Had One Day segment of the show. If you only had one day in Santiago. There's so much to do, and since we're not outside the city limits, I would recommend the Valle Nevado Ski Resort. It's one of a kind of itself, but we're in the metropolitan area. You gotta visit Cerro San Cristobal. The prized hill, as I mentioned, overlooks the entire city. It's got the whole trifecta. It's got the hill, it's got the zoo, it's got the Bella Vista neighborhood. Gotta check out Cerro San Cristobal if you only had one day in Santiago. Well, you heard it, and that here first. Now is Santiago your next destination? This has been a mind-boggling experience with a lot of different things to see and do here in Santiago. You're definitely going to succeed your doctor's daily recommended Fitbit pedometer steps exploring the streets of this city. That's all for me. I'm Court Zeppernick. Till wherever I land next, this has been As the Axis Tilts.